Sweet.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi, Dina. Welcome back to Life in the New Normal podcast, everybody.
Yay. Welcome back.
And guess what?
Dina's back. What?
Ask and ye shall receive. So last week, I was asking for our listeners to just let us know that they're here, and we got a question. Got a question, Dina.
Oh, we do.
Yes, we do. And this
Our
was
first question.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us know you exist.
Amazing.
So we're not just talking to ourselves. But
Right?
so in response to episode 117, Dating Lessons Learned, Rachel Urbano writes, really insightful podcast. You both mentioned having different priorities now than you did in your 20s and 30s in dating, which is logical. I'm 26 and have never been into hookup culture, going to clubs or bars, and I hardly drink. Well, you live in a different life than I did, Rachel.
Right.
You're way wiser than I was. It just seems like there aren't many women, I'm a lesbian, in my age range that are interested in relationships. What advice might you give to someone my age who maybe doesn't have the typical 20 priorities in the dating world? 20s priorities.
So she's older than her age.
She's
a more
wise
mature
soul.
Yeah,
She's a wise
yeah.
soul, Rachel. And I
say date someone a little older.
yeah.
And I say date someone who has your similar things of it could be dating someone sober. I mean, I don't know why she doesn't drink, but it comes down to like-minded people, and I know that can be hard to find, but I think the best place to find like-minded people would be like Meetup.
Yes.
And other places where people are doing also things that you like to do.
Right. Well, I don't know
And
where Rachel's writing from either, or if they have stuff like that, or, but yeah.
And
it's great.
you're more familiar with the lesbian culture. I don't know how different it is from straight culture of like when lesbian culture, when you hook up, is it mean like if you hook up and you really like each other that you're like connected now?
In your 20s, yeah, that's kind of how it works. It's like, you're hot, I'm hot. Okay, let's have sex. Now we're a couple. Or at least.
Oh my God, I spit my shit
I mean,
out.
that's how it went for me. This is too loud. Sorry.
That sounds kind of nice to me. I mean, instead of going through the whole thing, but then again, I could get freaked out and going, that's a little too fast, bro.
I mean, back then you don't know any better. I did. I'm only going to speak for me. I didn't know any better. I fell into relationship after relationship that way. And sometimes that's 2 years of your life down the drain because you're with somebody that really isn't like you, you know?
Yeah.
So you learn a lot.
And you may
grow
have
a lot.
liked them with the hookup
Yes.
when you were buzzed or all of those endorphins were going. And then you're like, I can see a future with this person. And then you're
yeah.
justifying and you're gaslighting yourself. I say, Rachel, God bless you, because I'm 53 and this same shit is happening. It never goes away. So I don't care how much older you get. I think when you get older, you just become more wiser. And it sounds like Rachel's pretty wise about just if you're not going to be with someone, you're not going to also go give yourself away. So you'd rather be by yourself.
Right. And you are far more
Right?
intentional at your age, Rachel, than I was, I will say. I just was in it for whatever ride I was about to go on, I was up for. And that took me way off course for many, many years, I will say. I feel. So I would say to you, in the lesbian culture, yeah, unfortunately, a huge amount of it is in the bar scene. Although now, thanks to dating apps, like I didn't have that when I was your age. So what about the dating apps, you know? Because you can be very intentional on those. And some of them are more for relationships than hookups. I would say just put it out there and see what you attract. Because there are other people out there like you, and I would have loved to have met someone like you back in the day, you know, who was a little more intentional, and maybe I would have been healthier too in my relationships.
Yeah. And intuitively, Rachel, what I'm getting for you, because I've been known to be a little intuitive,
A little bit.
what I'm getting for you is your love isn't in that package that you've been thinking it was going to be. So you have to go look outside of your box while you're being intentional, is that it's not going to come in the form of that pretty package or whatever it may be. Just start saying, I am open to creative solutions in meeting my partner. I am open to creative solutions, because creative solutions would be, okay, if the universe doesn't know if it's right and you'll accept it in this way because you've only ever done it in certain ways. When you say you're open to creative solutions, you're opening all doors, right? And so I think that's useful for all of us in the sense is that sometimes we have a vision in our head of how we see something getting done and the way we want it done and the way it's going to be. And it's going to come for her in a completely different way than she ever imagined, which is amazing. And I
Beautiful.
also think, Rachel, someone 32 for you is pretty good. Perfect age.
You know what I heard from that was stay away from the box. I heard different box, stay away from the box, Rachel. Sorry,
And
and
I'm
what
not
you
even gonna
said
tell you what I was
outside
thinking
of the box.
with the
I'm
box.
like, always stay away from the box, Rachel.
Right?
It'll
And I was like,
deceive
the
you.
box.
Oh my God, it'll deceive you.
Box.
Are
Are we talking about the same box?
Well, yeah. But Rachel, write us back when you meet said person. Let us follow up with us and let us know how it goes. We'd love to know how it goes. And
Yay.
hopefully we didn't lead you
Totes.
astray.
No. We don't
Okay.
lead astray.
Yes. So today, Dina, we are talking
Tell me.
about, our topic today is it's all attraction. So this
What does
I
that
find
mean?
fascinating too. And this was a perfect way to open this podcast, right? Because we're literally telling Rachel to be intentional with, and she is being very intentional with what she's trying to attract. And you're saying stay open to creative possibilities and solutions.
Yes, and possibilities.
Yeah. So, if I've learned anything over my last however many years of working with you, following different people online, doing my own spiritual study, going within, it's that you said this day one that I met you. We attract with where we are. I never understood what that meant back in the beginning, and it actually took me a couple of years to experience it, I will say, of going through the work and then really feeling it on a different level to understand what you meant by that. And the best way I can sort of describe it, and I'll just start off and then I want you to fully dive in, please, is that the thoughts that we're thinking, the things that we're expecting, are literally what we bring into our life. So we may want something in this direction or think we want this thing, but if the things that we're repeatedly saying in our mind are something different, we talked about this a little on the past episode, of calming that mind and starting to retrain it to think positively, you're going to get exactly what you expect you're going to get. So if in your heart you're saying, I really want someone who's really good to me and kind to me and loving, and I want this amazing relationship and blah, blah, blah. But in your mind you're going, that girl's too good for me. Or, I don't feel that I could, I don't make enough money for her. Or I don't, whatever it is, you're probably going to get a chance to prove yourself right one more time. That's what I learned.
Oh, totally. Well, and also we attract with where we are also in the sense of, listen, you may want all these things, but a lot of people think, I want so much love. I want someone to tell me they love me. And blah. A lot of us, we don't know how to accept love.
That's right.
And we don't know how to accept all those compliments. So what also, too, when you attract with where you are is that energetically, sure, you could tell yourself a lot of this, but if you're someone who hasn't done the work, you're also still going to be attracting those same lessons, right? And
yes,
so
yes,
if
that's
you
my point.
want if you want the person of your dreams and you keep saying this over and over and then you attract it, but you haven't done the internal work, you're fucked because you're missing your opportunity. And so what I'm saying is also attracting with where you are is make sure that your internal work is side by side with your verbalizing stuff, your manifestation stuff.
So let's give an example of that because, internal work is different for everybody, right? And that term may be too vague for some people of like, what do you mean by that,
so I'll,
Dina?
I'll
So
give
let's-
you
let's-
for instance.
Exactly.
I'll give you for instance. When I first met my ex-husband, I used to say all the time, God, I wish there was somebody who just loved me and thought I was beautiful and just was all over me. Cut to, Amore, I want to breathe your same oxygen. Okay, shut the fuck up. What? Who fucking says that? Like, it was annoying after a while only because it didn't sound real to me. Like, it didn't feel...
Because you didn't
and it
believe
had
you were
nothing to do
worthy
with
of
what
it?
Exactly. Had nothing to do with what he was saying. It had all to do with me going like, oh, please, I'm just standing here. You want to breathe my oxygen? Like, now I'm so bummed that I was such a bitch about it, right? But that wasn't lining up with what I thought I wanted and what I kept saying I wanted. So, yeah, we want someone who's loving and attentive, but not obsessive and annoying, right? So you always have to be very careful with what you're saying, because you also got to be careful what you're manifesting, right? But then when it became overwhelming, my go-to is to bull. I'm out. Like, I can't take this. I'm out. Like, right? But that wasn't lining up with what I was saying. So meaning, I say I want all those things, but I want them, I don't think, because I've ever had them consistently. And now if I were to rewrite all of that, I would say that I want someone who admires and appreciates me, who respects me, right? But before, I was just like, I want someone to think I'm beautiful all the time, and I want someone to blah, 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 blah. And I got all of that, and it was way too much in the wrong way. And so then, therefore, that's what I mean about, meeting you where you're at.
Right.
Becoming, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because let's be real. I mean, if you are in a place that is a bit unhealthy, you're depressed, you're not doing the work to get yourself into a positive headspace, you're not doing things that light you up and are creative and make you happy, how do you think you're going to attract someone who's happy and who is all of those things? Because they're not going to want that. And it's going to take a couple minutes of being around you to feel that ain't their energy. So,
Totally.
I saw a quote somewhere that said something to the effect of, write down all of the things that you want in a partner and then become that person. Yes.
My godmother used to say, write down what you want in a partner and then write down what you're willing to give. And a lot of times we would want like 56 things, and we're willing to give like 20 of those same things that we wanted.
Things.
Yes. And
that's
it's just
interesting.
like, it's interesting because it's like, well, I'm the woman. I don't want to give that. Or I'm
like financial stability and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and things like that. And that was 30 years ago, right? When we used to do those. And so I think lots has changed since then. But I think that it's all... Also, we sometimes want with unrealistic expectations of somebody else, and we're not willing to give the same unrealistic expectations, but then we're mad if somebody doesn't give those. It's all very confusing sometimes if you really sort of think about how we can all be so hypocritical and unrealistic.
Right.
But then again, it's what we were talking about on that past episode, is putting your happiness into someone else without going inward and making yourself happy first so that you can find someone who's happy.
And I'm not saying we do it intentionally either. It happens, like it can knock you out of nowhere and all of a sudden you're wrapped up in something and then you're like, oh shit, here we go again. Like, I'll never forget the day that a friend turned to me and said to me, this was, 15 years ago, because I had said something to the effect of, I like being in charge in the relationship. And she's like, but don't you want somebody to take care of you too? And I said, no, I like being in charge. Well, guess what? The next, relationship that I got that the universe handed me was, boy.
You're in charge about everything.
Yeah, and in the most unhealthy way I could have seen coming. And she came in a real pretty package. And she liked a lot of the same things I liked. And I thought, man, this is it. We have all this stuff in common. This is great. And then I watched it unfurl and I went, oh God, I said that out loud. I actually said that out loud. I get it. Sorry. Yep. Learned my lesson. So.
And then I wanted someone to take care of me. But what we also don't realize is when someone takes care of you, they think they're in charge. And then there's not a lot of room for your input.
That's right. And that's kind of what I wanted back in the day, before I was healthy enough to realize I would like someone to meet me halfway.
And so, but do you see how we have to be very careful of what we say and what we put out there?
Yes.
Because hasn't there been sometimes, now that you're aware of this stuff, that you could literally fucking be in your car and you could be like, oh my God, I fucking said this exact thing like a month ago. And what the fuck? And then instead of like being super mean to yourself, be like, girl, you got to get back on that because like literally
clean up that vibration.
It happens. Yes.
Yeah. That's
totally.
what she means by
I
doing
like
the
that.
work. And yes, so for me, it meant a lot to start doing some work before jumping back into another relationship because I learned some painful lessons in the last few breakups. And I guess we'll see what happens in the next one. But
well, and
please,
I think
God.
it's also important for us, whether it's a breakup of a friendship, of
Right.
a relationship with someone in your family, whatever it may be. I recently, with certain family members or whatever, things have happened, and then certain family members have come back, and we've had some text exchange. And the number one thing I did for myself in this was I allowed myself to receive the beautiful text, but I also made sure I didn't attach expectations with it after.
Yep.
Because that person and the history we have with each other in the past showed me who they were.
Right.
Right? So just because there's one text exchange and then we go, oh my God, everything's better. They saw how amazing I am and they came back and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you don't know what they've been doing on their side of the street. So before you open yourself up completely, and I'm glad that I didn't because they've stayed consistent on who they've been. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's fine after that text. But I'm choosing to take that text, and it was amazing, and I'm grateful for it. But I have nothing attached to it. And if the call or someone comes up again or whatever in the future, I'll see how I feel in that day.
Right.
But I also felt very healthy and a lot of growth because old me would have been like, well, they said that they were going to call all the time, and they said that, and they're not doing anything, and then I would have gone round and round, and then I would have gone to my friends, and I would have gotten confirmation bias, and then I would have stayed with that narrative, and then I would have been like, everyone always disappoints me, blah, 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 blah. And then more people would keep disappointing, but that's because you're keeping the narrative and the vibration going, right? And so people don't realize that's the dangerous part of it. When you keep something going, especially on social media, I'm not against anyone crying or speaking their truth or doing whatever, but when it's going out to hundreds of thousands of people, be sure it is something you want to share because your narrative is no longer your own after this.
That's right. Yeah, that's
because your name is attached to it, right? And so they'll go, I saw this girl, and we all know energetically because we're picturing her in our head, and we're adding to your collective and your vibration, and you're this and you're that. And so this is
energetically,
why
people are out there talking about you. You have no idea about, but you're saying that it does affect your energy still and your vibration.
Hell yes. It's vibrated to me, right? So it's linked to me. It's that girl, Dina, that
Some
I
people
saw
may think that's a
online,
little woo-woo. I think you're spot on, but I understand. So I wanted you
No,
to explain it a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, and I get that people would think that because it's weird, but I think that once people start opening up, because let's be real, I'm a girl from Orange County, California, and I'm like, when I started getting into all this when I was a kid, and my stepmom and my godmother would get me into, and I'd have to do all these seminars, and I'm like, this shit is weird.
Yeah.
Like, like that. And I was like, but then as I got older and I kept experiencing it, and it's like when people experience Mercury retrograde for the first time, when you make them aware of Mercury.
Right.
And then people are like, I'm not going to let the stars define my life. I'm like, go for it, girl. I'm just saying to you, you can't fight the universe. And if shit's hitting the fan, instead of trying to guess where it's coming from, it's just what it is. Like, go with it, right? It's
Work
like
with it or against it.
Right? And then people after a while be like, what was that thing you were talking about again?
Yeah.
And then they realize it's an energy thing, right?
Well, this is
And
also
so-
what you were, sorry.
No, go.
This is also what you were talking about, or you mentioned just a minute ago and talked about in last episode, the difference in the 3D and the 5D, right? Like we have to be so intentional with our thoughts, i.e. the 5D, and making sure that you don't repeat that past narrative and keep saying to yourself the same things over and over again, because that's exactly what you're going to start bringing into your energy field.
Yeah,
right?
so let me give you another example. And this is just to give people examples on how to shift your language, right?
Yes.
So if a stranger comes up to me and is like, "Why are you divorcing your husband?" I'm not going to get into the whole thing.
None of your damn business.
Right? No, because he is unable to love me the way I needed him to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much sums it up, right? I'm not being disrespectful to myself or him. I'm not shifting my energy. I'm not saying that I got things, but that is it. But there's nothing else to really say. Because all of that leads to my final sentence. I could tell you a gazillion stories and people are like, "He's a jerk. Why'd you stay with that?" Because he was incapable of loving me the way I needed him to,
And
right?
he's going to have his own version of that too, and that's fine.
Totally. And that's what lives in his head, and this is what lives in mine. But energetically, I could sit there and let's just say, hypothetically, I got more news about like a parent or a family member who it confirms what I've been saying. Keep that to yourself and be like, okay, I got my confirmation that I still need to keep my distance.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But what we've all been guilty of, because were taught this, whether we learned it by watching our parents or friends or whatever, but we will go, "Oh my God, did you hear so-and-so is still blah, blah, blah." Why is that your business? Go on with your day.
Right.
You don't have something better to do than to sit there and be chatty Cathy with the gossiping and
Well, and
where
some
does that
people,
get you?
Exactly. And I have found that certain people, that's a way that they feel like they're connecting when they're talking, because it's just such a habit. And maybe that's something that you've done in the past, or you've seen somebody else do that, or a parent or whatever. Agreed. Yeah. And to what you're talking about, like we're speaking of it in terms of maybe like romantic relationships, but it literally is every relationship, right? It's all attraction.
Every
So,
relationship.
brother, sister,
Friendships,
friend,
yes.
work, colleagues,
Strangers on the street.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me here. Italians are the best. If I say ciao, they'll literally go, "Do I know you?" I'm sorry. But the other day, I wear no jacket in the store, right? Because menopause and I'm sweating and I'm hot.
Girl, yeah.
I didn't walk past one Italian that didn't ask me where my jacket was. And I just started laughing because I'm like, they have no problem telling you what they need or think that you should be doing.
The fixers.
But totally. And so I just said menopausa, which is menopause,
That's
right? And they
hilarious.
all started laughing and it just shut everyone down,
Yeah,
right?
it's funny because they
So
don't
it
want
was
to talk
the
about that.
easy-
They're like, "Oh, I'm not going to talk about
No.
that. That's way too personal."
But it's the fact. It's what I was going through. I was in a major heat flash. It's snowing
Yeah.
outside. I'm wearing this sweater with the holes here, right?
Oh my
The cold
God.
shoulder in the market
Yeah.
because I'm literally sweating.
The furnace
But
is
the fact
no
is,
joke.
but before I could have been like, "Oh my God, they're such jerks. They won't even say hi and da da da." But now they're like all up in my business. I just think it's funny, and then I turn it into something funny to where it's like, it's menopause, now what? Like, it's kind of funny to me, right? And so I could have left that experience in a different way. That experience could go so many different ways, right? But I think it's all how we want it to be and what
Well,
we want it to be.
exactly.
So
And if you have that narrative in your head of, let's say, with a friend or with a sibling, and you know any circumstance you walk into ahead of time, let's say you're meeting somebody for lunch and you're sort of mentally preparing yourself of like, okay, I know how this normally goes, I know what this is going to be. What I've been trying to do is imagine how I want it to go, and how I see
Smart.
them in their best light. That takes so much
Smart.
work, and you get caught off guard so many times when they throw something back at you, maybe. But I'm trying so hard to like keep that back on track of like, let's talk about productive things. Let's talk about creative things. Let's maybe don't talk about other people, or if they start going down a negative path, let's try to redirect it to whatever it is. But
well, and if
takes
it's
work.
a good friend, I've taken, I have a good friend who's been my friend for 20 years, and I had to say something to the effect of, "Hey, just so you know, I've been working really hard on not talking and gossiping about other people.
Yes.
And I'm trying to keep the positive route." And respectfully, unfortunately, we text less, but she respected that. And I so
nice, yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And whenever we talk, and I felt bad for having to say it, but if I still want this person in my life, I'm going to have to speak up.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
And so it doesn't, not everyone is going to respect that. And they're going to be like, oh, what? So now I have to watch what I say in front of you? Well, yeah, yes, you do. But meaning not to everything. I'm not counting all of your negatives and positives and whatever. But if I come to you with something and then your number one thing is to always go to the negative, I'm going to stop coming to you.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I can't do that. I'm trying. And then if I'm trying and then all I need is somebody else to lob a negative bomb in,
right.
There it goes. I'm going to jump on that.
Right. And I don't want to be that person that you come to every time there's bad things going on. I mean, I don't mind being that person and a shoulder for you to lean on sometimes, but let's not make it every experience. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be that friend or that sibling or that whatever, daughter, mother, whatever. It's like you gotta balance some good in there too and positive.
And I'm trying to think of people who are like, yeah, but shitty things happen in life, and of course you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Shitty things happen a lot, but
Yeah.
the mistake we make is continuing the shitty thing by telling this one and that. Just pick one person, your safe person.
Mm-hmm.
You tell it to one person.
Mm-hmm.
And keep it to 20-minute limit.
That's a good
right?
point.
And then be like, okay, maybe once a week, do you mind if I bring it up and then you can cap me at 5 minutes? Or maybe if I need a extra time, I may say something. But as friends, we don't want to have something in common is that we talk about others and put other people down.
Right.
And
Agreed.
a lot of people, they get together on, whether they don't like a certain person or someone's cheated on both of them or whatever. And then it's like, okay, I get that. That's great. But that can't be the narrative of our friendship.
Yeah, and I like that idea too of just tell it to one that you trust, and let's not tell it to everybody because then you're attaching that narrative to yourself of this is really how you always see this person, and maybe that's limiting them too and not giving them an opportunity to grow in the right way, or I don't know.
And maybe they had a shitty day and that was off for them, and then you kept it going and told 10 other people, and then they're back to normal, and then now you feel like shit because they called you crying saying they had a really bad day. Now you've got to tell 10 other people, just kidding.
Yeah.
She was having a bad day. He was
Right.
having a bad day,
Right.
And so it
I'm guilty of
stops
that.
all of that.
Totally guilty of that.
We all have been.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so I learned only because I used to get super anxious when someone would say, I need to talk to you. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, did someone tell them what I said or not to say? And now when someone's like that, I'm like, oh, what did I do? Meaning just for me, I don't go through the whole narrative and it has helped calm my anxieties so much because then, therefore, remember, as friends, our friends will not like somebody for us. So the more we keep telling them something negative and derogatory, and we can't expect them to, just because someone said sorry to us and they didn't mean it, to go open arms. Those people hurt someone I love. Fuck you.
That's
I'm not going to be
point.
nice to that.
That's a
I'm
great
remembering
point.
all of that shit.
Because
Right?
if I'm your friend and you're telling me you tell me you're starting to date somebody, I'm already thinking this person better be fucking good. They better be
Right?
amazing because I know who you are. I know what I expect, So yeah, the first little time you start telling me that somebody has been bad to you or hurt you, of course, now.
Yep.
I mean,
And it's crazy. I had a boyfriend once, and he wasn't the greatest. And then my neighbor downstairs, who was my really good friend at the time, she, every time he would come, would slam her front door if she was out watering the garden and with the dogs before he was coming around. And he was like, do you talk shit about me to Heather? Like, it's the only thing that makes sense why she would slam the door every time I come. And I was like, no, well, and I was like, and then I turned it on Heather, and I was like, she's fucking moody. She's a bitch. Like, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may be, just to get out of my shit. But remember, when we're telling people stuff,
Right.
we also will overemphasize, over-exaggerate, will be emotional. So our person who loves and wants to protect us is like, not on my watch.
And some people are addicted to that. You want that sympathy. You want somebody on your team. You want to be told that you're right and they're wrong. And the more that is reinforced, well, maybe you are doing something that you need to pay attention to, but you ain't bringing that up, And so
Nope.
now you're just reinforcing your position, and then it just remains unhealthy. It's like,
And
anywho's,
you can't tell me that's not the only person in your life that treats you that way.
right, right. Because if you'll allow it from one person, chances are you haven't done the work, period.
Well, and
Right.
energetically, it's going across the board.
Right, right, right.
So
Exactly.
it literally, energetically, it's like, oh, okay, well, here we go. But I just think it's so important for us to remember it's like a megaphone, right? It's like basically think of it like a megaphone and it's going out into the universe. Would you want to scream whatever it is you're about to repeat and repeat to the universe?
God. Yeah. Good point. And I'm
Right?
thinking back as you're saying that to like that time when I was with that person that I was taking care of and where I was also in other areas of my life. Because you're right. It's like work was a little funky then too. And I walked out of my job at that point. I mean, there was like, it wasn't just one person. You're absolutely right. Good point, Dina.
Thank you. It's so magical to see energetically, right? I love watching you because that makes me so happy, but I love watching you get these like moments of like realization because those are the moments that actually have the most impact.
They do on
Because when
me.
we're like well, in general, like with clients and things, it's so interesting to me when people will call and they'll be like, "How did you know that?" But I don't know how the fuck. I just read your energy. Right? So if I can read it and it's something that I'm not in your life and I'm never around you, right? Then imagine the people around you how they can feel it. Because we can feel energy when we're in it, right? So when someone knows something's wrong, when a partner or whatever, like, are you mad at me? Like, or, and they're huffing and they're puffing, and you can feel all of that, right? And so I think it's just a really powerful thing. Like, be very careful of, like, I don't ever want A, B, C, or D, you better be careful. You are sure you don't want all of that because you are making it quite clear to the universe to not bring it to you.
Right, right.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I don't think you have to declare stuff all the time. I think while you're learning, it's kind of like bobbing and weaving, right? It's like, ooh, wait, ooh. That's how I feel with Mercury, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wah.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, have I had some frustrating, during the holidays and stuff, some frustrating, disappointing, yeah. Now, I'm not sitting here saying keep it all to yourself, but here's what I've noticed. When you start to tell people about stuff that was really hurtful, they'll be like, well, I've done that to you sometimes. Does that mean you're mad at me? And you're like, no,
They take
but
it
how did we
personally.
get to this? Right.
Yeah.
And so really, you don't really ever have a non-biased audience, right? So really you go internal if you have the luxury of having a therapist or a life coach or an intuitive, whatever that may be, or someone that won't weaponize things against you or use them against you, by all means. But do you see with what I'm saying how it doesn't serve you? Because now not only were you frustrated about the first thing you were trying to talk about, but now you're frustrated
Right.
with the person that you're telling.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And it's not their
The
fault.
situation
They're
gets
just going off the
compounded.
energy. So they plucked whatever
Right.
felt real in their life
Right.
and made it about them, which we all have been guilty of doing.
Or they're speaking with experience of what they've been through, and maybe it is a little bit different than what you've been through, or whatever the case may be. But yes, it just gets compounded, and the situation grows rather than
And that's where we
taking
learn
it
to go
internally.
in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just really sitting with it and seeing what feels right, really feels
And
right to you. And that
journaling
takes
or...
time.
Yeah,
And-
no, sorry. I interrupted.
And it's not, yeah. And listen, we are social beings and we are here to help one another. And I'm not saying that we're not, I mean, absolutely. And if you want to talk. But I think it's what you're saying, I think, and what I'm saying as far as attracting with the energy, be careful of how and when you're spewing that out, when you're not clear on what you're really asking for, too. right? Are you just hearing yourself talk? Are you continuing this energy and then you're open to whatever comes in? Are you trying to find a healthy point? Are you
Does
clear
this
with what
align
you
with
want?
who you want to be? Yeah, there you
Yes.
go.
Are
See,
you
we're in sync.
clear?
So does this align with where you want to go? So you know
Right.
how we picked our word for the year from that book, One Powerful Word. And so it's kind of like with that, you and I picked success this year. And it's like when I'm doing something and I'm laying in my bed this morning, I'm trying to convince myself to get up and do yoga. Does laying in this bed align with what you're trying to do with success? And success for me in all areas, like a healthier body, for my physical stuff, like whatever it may be. And so I will ask myself, like, if I want something crappy to eat, or if I'm going to call someone and I'm weak, does this align? And so that's how you do it with baby steps. Meaning if you're just starting out, we all, absolutely. You have to keep trying and trying and trying again until it becomes second nature to, it's just literally how you think. And so eventually
That's
it's
right.
like, okay, that,
Yep.
but that comes with practice.
Right.
Going in, crying a little, maybe not crying at all, getting a little angry, whatever that looks like for
When you're
everyone,
sober. Please don't do it when you're drinking.
sober. Totally. When you're sober. And what are those rage rooms I've heard about where people go in and they hit things? Or so if you have a bunch of girlfriends and you guys are really pissed off at, you're going through breaks, go to a rage room, get it all out and leave it there. And then make a commitment. We're going to leave it there and we're not going to bring it with us out of that rage room.
That's
right?
good.
Leave things where
Sounds
they
kind of fun.
belong.
Yeah.
Right?
Get it all out.
Oh my God, I would love to rage. Oh my God. But then I would be like, oh my God, but we got to recycle. And what about the universe?
Yeah.
But
Just tore all
I
this
think a
stuff
rage
up.
room is, right? Totally. Yeah. I think there's so many things available to us now that, and then other people, they'll go on TikTok and then someone could say, or social media or whatever, but what about all of that stuff? Well, listen, my TikTok is pretty much spiritual talk, so I'm attracting with what
Me
it is
too.
I want to see.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Thank
not
you.
seeing a bunch
Right.
of negative shit coming
Same.
down my
My social
pipeline.
media inspires me, to be honest, because I follow so many positive people. And if you want to follow something where you learn more about the law of attraction, because it is a spiritual law, just like the law of gravity. The law of attraction is a real thing that's been proven now by several scientists like Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks. There are Dr. Bruce Lipton. Is he a doctor? I think he is. Anyway, there's all these people that work with epigenetics and law of attraction that have now proven that the way you think is exactly what comes back into your life. It's not just woo-woo. I mean, it is to some people, but follow these people.
It is to some people because
done
it's a new way for them.
It's a new
right?
way for
but
them to
it
think.
isn't to others. So someone could call it woo woo. Other people call it the devil. Other people call it witchy. Other people, whatever. Listen, however you get to where you're going, I don't care as long as it's healthy and positive, right?
Agreed.
I just think that use your wording in your head, whatever makes you comfortable to get you there. I
Agreed.
think it's really important. And I think it's also really important is that sometimes I can't speak for everyone, I could be so quick, and I think that is the fear in me, right? So let's just say hypothetically, if you're someone who's not a dog lover and you just don't like that, I don't even see how we could be friends.
Right.
I really don't. But with that being said, it has never occurred to me to ask why you don't like dogs. And then by maybe,
Understanding.
looking a little deeper, I find out that you don't like dogs because you were attacked when you were a kid or something. But I've always been like, nope, done. You're out. And I have to be careful about cutting people off too easily and too quickly if they're not aligned with what I think they should be.
Right. That's correct. Because we all are here
Yeah.
on our own individual journeys. We all go through different experiences. But I agree with you. Hopefully your journey is leading you towards more happiness, more healthiness, healthier relationships. Being happy. I mean, we're here to be happy. We're not here to justify why we're unhappy. We're not here to attract more negativity, right?
But
Hopefully.
I think we're questioned more of why are you so miserable all the time? Why are you so negative? Instead of, dude, tell me your secret. Why are you so happy all the time?
Right.
Oh my God, like, where do you get this?
Right.
Like, so we've been trained
Yes.
to focus. And then the world outside of us is, we've got therapy for this much. We've got classes for this much. We have that for that much. I don't see classes on how to stay happy, how to keep staying positive, right? And how to, it's not part of the norm because no one's making money off of that.
Right. But you can find those accounts on social media that give you daily tidbits.
Totally.
Ours is one of them, you guys. You know, if you want to follow Life in the New Normal on social media, Coach Dina releases a daily inspiration where she just gives you a little tidbit of like staying positive and staying on your path. There's a lot of accounts out there that will just give you that little inspiration, like you were saying.
Accounts,
like I'm saying,
yeah,
you know, I follow those on purpose because I need that every day. We all need that. You need your tribe.
Well, and I need to
keeps
know
you
I'm not
pumped.
alone. Yes, I need to know I'm not alone. And I'm also learning to share more emotionally. For me, sometimes it's easier to post stuff on TikTok where I don't have a lot of my friends and I share more intimate emotional stuff than the people that I do know because I find that there's more judgment around that.
Totally.
And I'm not as comfortable.
Totally.
And so then when you reach out and you share to people, and it's nice to actually let other people know you're here if they need you or whatever it may be. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way with social media. I think we all can learn something by coming together.
Yeah,
You know?
but I think the point being that if you seek it, you will find it. If you look for positive accounts, they are totally there. And by the way, why do you continue following negative accounts? Why do you follow things that upset you and get you riled up? And I know it's like we all want to see the news. We all want to know what's going on. Do we? Do you need to know every bad thing that's going on in every corner of the world? Yeah, have a little general information, but if it's affecting you and it's making you upset and causing you emotional distress, is that the best choice for you of something to look at every day and start your day with? You know, I mean,
yeah,
I think
because
you have to figure that out.
And following those kinds of accounts leads to judgment. So I'll give you a ridiculous sort of analogy, like for instance, I refuse to watch the Meghan and Harry thing.
Me too.
Because thank you. Good, we're aligned.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be a part of, it's ridiculous. Either way, no matter what I think, it doesn't fucking matter to that whole situation.
Yeah.
And
It's their
so
life.
it's not that I don't care. It's that I don't want to go in on the mob mentality.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to get in on all of that. So what I've been learning also too with, I used to be very addicted to like TMZ and those.
Yeah.
Now I don't even go on them anymore. And even when I find myself, I'm like, what is it that you're lacking, that you're looking for to see the harshness going on in somebody else's life, to make yourself feel better? Like, go fucking read a book or go look at something better. Okay, I'll give myself The Housewives, but even now I can't even tolerate, like, I just have it in the background while I'm cleaning and stuff. I will never just sit and watch it. But I've even noticed with that by consuming that kind of stuff, I'm also contributing to all of that ridiculousness.
Right. That's a very good point because, not just social media, but the things that we allow ourselves to ingest, not just food, but, also the things we watch and whatever, like it totally affects your mindset. We've talked about this a little bit before, but if you're watching violent programs all the time, you're going to expect violence in your life. You're going to be on guard.
You're also going to attract it because that's what's going inside of you.
Right.
That is what, like, I don't understand the girls, and God bless all you girls who are really into true crime with, like, the girl getting kidnapped and taken. I know people who listen to podcasts, like, daily. Like, I don't get it.
I used to.
I used to. Oh, my God.
It was fascinating.
Tell me what was what was fascinating about it?
Well, I think there's a part of you that wants to hear the resolution. If something's happened and someone's gone missing or something has happened, you want to see how it plays out because just curiosity. But
you're getting into somebody's head and what they're thinking,
That's right.
why they're thinking it.
That's right.
Do you see how dangerous that is?
Well, now I do, but back then I was trying to just
I'm
say
just
like
to
what
everyone
I was
out there.
Yes. So yeah, and hence why I can't watch that damn Dahmer that's on Netflix. Like,
oh my God.
do I want to know what that man was thinking? No, I really don't. I really don't, because I don't want that spinning around in my brain as I'm trying to fall asleep at night.
I don't want that
Yeah.
energy near me. I don't want that. So, if you look at my YouTube and everything, I just watch like Impact Theory, Seeking Discomfort. Like it's always on in the background, right? And I've always been that way, thankfully, with my godmother who introduced me to metaphysics at a very young age. But even then, my dad is very similar. We're both very positive people.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's just who I am. Yes, it's just who I've always been. And I was talking to my therapist about it the other day, and we were talking, and he was like, I was like, even in the worst situations, like, how do I know to be positive? And he's like, well, Dina, that's the God in you. And I was like, really? Oh my God, that's amazing. But he's never said it before, but I had heard it this time. Maybe he had said it before. I don't know. But I feel fortunate and I feel lucky that I've always been able to find the positive in any situation. But then again, I was also raised by a mother who fed off of negativity. So if you bought mom a car, she would be like, this car's really nice, but I can't afford the gas. Don't worry, mom. But okay, yeah, but I know you're getting the gas, but what about insurance? Okay, don't worry, mom. And she wonders, she's deceased now, but my mom had the most unlucky, horrific life. And but it's like, I don't ever remember my mom being positive now that I'm thinking about it. And I just don't think she was ever exposed to positivity.
Right.
From her childhood to getting married to whatever, every situation was traumatizing, was horrible. Like, my dad, on the other end, was positive, and I don't know a lot about each of their childhoods because they don't talk a lot about it. But I just think it's sad, and so maybe that's why podcasts, not maybe, but that's why podcasts and YouTube and everything is so amazing. Is if you've never had exposure to positivity, here's an episode, right? Go seeking it. Go seeking positivity. Go seeking out. And so if people don't know where to look first, just start typing in positive daily quotes on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking the quotes of like, you didn't need him anyway, you're the prize. No, that's not positive. Right? That's a
but
different.
People don't know. They don't know where to start from. So that's a good point. Yes.
And so I think that you do baby steps, and
Yes.
you start to taste it and go, I kind of like this. I want a little more of that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if you think, I learned at a very young age, this is the greatest example. All those people who always go, every man I've ever been with is cheating on me, or every person I've ever been with is cheating on me. How long you been saying this? I don't know, 10 years since the first time someone got cheated on. Okay, so is it manifestation or is it coincidence? No one will know, right? But then those days when you're having a really good day, right? And you get every green light. You go into the market, someone lets you in front of them in line. You find $20. That's because it's the vibration.
But you don't say, oh, I always find money. Oh, people are always kind to me. Things are always working out for me.
There we go.
Right.
See?
Right. And what a difference when you shift that mindset. So that's a good point of Abraham Hicks say. When these positive things happen in your life, you should say to yourself, but out loud even, oh yeah, that's about right. Things are always working out for me. And just start that energy going for yourself. And I'm telling you, I've been doing that, and it's so fun because what happens is it shifts your awareness and you start noticing, holy shit, some good things really do work out for me in my day. Little things that maybe I just took for granted before that I didn't notice as much. And I need to recognize, I mean, the Earth is spinning in its orbit and we're not hurling off into space. You know, the sun comes up every morning. I didn't have to do anything for that to happen. I'm not in charge of that. You're breathing, you know, you wake up, you're healthy, you go to work, good for you. You didn't have to do anything to get up and breathe, you know, it's hopefully if you're healthy. But just saying, we have so many things in our life to be thankful for and grateful, and sometimes it's good to remember that. So what you're saying here also is our podcast, and what we're trying to accomplish here is like giving you a little feeling of camaraderie and a little warm, fuzzy feeling in your chest of you're sitting and you're listening to girlfriends talk or something that
And that you're not alone,
You're
and
not
you
alone.
found your tribe, and you've got a group of women who want to support you and watch you do your best and see you do your best and hold your hand along the way to inspire you and cheer you on.
Yes, because it's so fun, and we're here on this planet to have fun and be inspired and live our dreams. And sometimes it's challenging and you can't see it, and you need support. I need support all the time. I seek out these positive things, and thank you for reminding me of impact theory. I'm going to follow that one again because I forgot about it.
I love it. And his wife too, Lisa. She's Women of Impact.
Okay.
She's great too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yay.
Yeah.
This has been so fun. I think it's so important. I think we forget that there are a lot of people out there who have not had the luxury of being exposed to positivity. And maybe life has dealt them a very shitty hand, and they've never got to see the bright end of it. What I'm saying is I was one of those people too. And through therapy and literally, thank God for YouTube and podcasts and everything, I've self-taught and all of these things. You just keep trying and you find a community, and it's not impossible is what I'm saying, especially in this day and age.
Right, because there is so much free information out there. If you look for it, there really is. And start with where you are, with what you have, do what you can, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, Dina. And we also want to remind you, please let us know you're here. And, shoot us a question. Life in the New Normal email address is litnnguest@gmail.com. If you have a topic you'd like to hear discussed. We would love to hear what you're saying. Please like and subscribe. It does matter for us, as we're moving on this little podcast journey. It's helpful to see. And like I've mentioned before,
tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends about us. We can't see who is subscribing, which is the weirdest thing. But let us know you're there. Shoot a little comment. Yay. Like it. Something where we can see your name pop up and go, oh, there's so-and-so.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Coach Dina. I am so happy, as always, to be your guinea pig, and grateful because I learned so much in every conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for being the guinea pig. Yeah, and so,
for this week.
I'm
Next
here
week
for
I may put you in it. But,
that's okay.
Yeah. All right. I love you. Thank you.
I love you. Bye. Ciao.